Wayne, come on, we're going to watch Jeopardy.
All right.
Actually, we're going to watch.
He was just fascinating. He's had such a fascinating career in Hawaii and broadcasting and government and in the scientific research area. But one of the things that was really significant to me was he believed in me. At that time in my life, I didn't know there was anything to believe in.
Peggy Collins married the man who believed in her, Wayne Collins, in May of 1983. For more than 3 decades, they shared an adventurous life. But today, their world is much smaller than it used to be.
TV for 1,000.
After Linda Hamilton got done.
The formal diagnosis was 2 years ago in January. Prior to that, there are symptoms, there's signs, and a lot of it is hindsight. The big one was when he didn't remember that Becky and Monty had moved to Oregon. They were our next door neighbors. We'd been friends with Becky for 20-some years and actually introduced Monty and Becky to each other. And 2 weeks later, he wanted to know when they were going to come back. I said, well, they moved. They won't be coming back. And that was, for me, a kind of an aha moment.
A neurologist diagnosed Wayne with Alzheimer's disease.
All right, come sit.
Alzheimer's damages and destroys brain cells, robbing its sufferers of their memories and eventually their lives. It affects about 120,000 Arizonans and more than 5 million people nationwide.
As a news broadcaster, the picture on the wall in the studio in Honolulu has a plaque, a picture there and a plaque that says he never used a script. He memorized the stuff. Now, we have to go through every morning and what we're going to do today, and that can happen several times. Because you didn't write down yet what we had for lunch, right?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so get to that point. And age-old favorite, peanut butter and jelly.
And I'm going to write down peanut butter and jelly for what? For lunch?
Yep.
You will forget more things as you get older. Most of us do. We forget where we left our keys. We might have trouble finding where we parked our car, but we don't forget that we drove a car. That might happen in Alzheimer's disease.
Memory researcher Betty Glisky says Alzheimer's is still poorly understood. It's also difficult to diagnose, in part because it's hard to distinguish from normal aging at its earliest stages.
Because of the variability in normal aging, this is a difficult problem. And because we don't see the cognitive symptoms until the pathology in the brain has developed to an extent enough to see these kinds of problems, then it's difficult to treat because we can't treat it early enough.
To learn what's normal and what's not, Glisky joined a cross-disciplinary team of researchers from the University of Arizona and the Translational Genomics Research Institute in Phoenix to create a new kind of memory test, a website called MindCrowd.
MindCrowd is our new approach to studying the human race. We're essentially trying to better understand how our brains work as humans using the internet.
Geneticist Matt Hunnelman started MindCrowd using online crowdsourcing as his model. Instead of asking visitors for funding or new ideas like other crowdsourcing sites, MindCrowd asked them to test their brains.
So this measures your reaction time, your reaction speed, as well as gets you focused on the test. With the pink ball test, you're just hitting enter, so we're truly measuring the hardwiring of your eyes to your brain to your finger muscle, essentially. We tell you that you're going to get word pairs, and you're going to see them first. You have to make a new association between the word pairs, and then we're going to show you one word pair, and you have to type the other one. It only takes about 10 minutes to go from start to finish, and we study episodic memory. This is memory that is really, really important for our daily life. It's one of the first memories that's affected with Alzheimer's disease.
The test also asks people about themselves and filters out questionable results and cheaters who take the test more than once. The idea is to learn how healthy people of different ages and backgrounds perform on the test in order to explore the full range of what's normal and to see how that changes as we age.
One of the big things that we're trying to learn here is a better understanding of what makes you an outlier. So for example, for a given age, let's take a 50-year-old. If you perform just like any other 50-year-old on the test, that's one thing, that's very interesting. But what if you perform like a 20-year-old? What if you perform at the test at the same level that the average 20-year-old performs? We want to know more about you. We want to know about your genetics. So are there interesting changes in your genetics, in your DNA, in your genome that are maybe enhancing your performance on this test? And that's really important because if we can find those regions in the genome that are important for performance, those are new regions that we could use to perhaps develop new drugs for Alzheimer's disease.
The next phase of the MindCrowd project will bring genetic testing into the mix. More than 50,000 people have taken the test so far, and Hundelman is hoping for 1 million before this phase is through. But he acknowledges that even if he meets his goal, turning his results into new treatments is a long way off.
For the families today struggling with Alzheimer's disease, their caregivers and the patients, it's more about a legacy project. It's more about, what can I do today to be a part of the research into the disease? I see my grandfather suffering with the disease, but I feel helpless. What can I do? How can I participate? This is one way.
Peggy Collins sees promise in the research, but she knows it will come too late for Wayne.
I'm very excited that there's research out there and there may be hope for my children and my grandchildren. At the same time, for me personally, I don't care because it doesn't affect me. You're not going to come in today and say, oh, here, give them this pill and everything will be back to normal. That's not going to happen. I try to focus that this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. Not this is it. This is what I'm supposed to do. There's other things later, but those are later. And right now, this is what's important. Have a good nap, okay?
Okay, I'll try to behave.
All right.